The Supreme Court will today reveal its judgment on hidden car finance commission claims. How many of us have been through this? Now, this could open the door to tens of billions of pounds in compensation for consumers.
So, Martin Lewis, founder of Money Saving Expert, says the decision could have ramifications not just for the individuals involved, but right across the economy, far beyond car finance alone. And Martin joins us now. Martin, you better tell us all about this. For instance, it's even specific, isn't it, that they are having to do this at 4:35 p.m. on a Friday afternoon in August because of the potential ramifications.
Well, that's what we assume. Yes, good morning, everybody. The decision is being done on this is the end of term of the Supreme Court. It doesn't come back till September, and it was thought it had to be done in July. It's being done at the last possible minute. The significance of the 4:35 p.m. is it's after the stock markets have closed. Now, some people, and we don't know, are reading into that this could be big and it could have a big impact on the market. So it's deliberately being done on a Friday afternoon. So there's 2 days for discussion to be had around it before the markets reopen on Monday, which I think just gives you an example of the seismic waves this is sending through the financial services industry.
Goodness.
Now, this is complicated, and we know there are 2 separate cases, Martin. Just talk us through this. What's the first case? Just take us through the first case, if you can.
So the first type of car finance mis-selling is the one most people will have heard of. It's called discretionary commission arrangements. And it isn't what the Supreme Court has decided today, although it is on hold because of the Supreme Court decision. Now, discretionary commission arrangements are where, until 2021, when you went to get a car from a car dealer or broker, they could increase the amount of commission that they got, increase the interest rate that you paid in order to increase the commission that you got without telling you, hence discretionary commission arrangements. Now, for those people who follow me and the work I've done, that's the type of car finance mis-selling I've been talking about. That's the one I've had over 3 million template complaints done via my website. That is done through the regulator, the FCA. That was not primarily a court route. And that could potentially still happen regardless of what the Supreme Court says today. And that's about 40% of cases. And it's the one I've been championing the injustice behind. The other case, the one that is being dealt with in the Supreme Court today, is a case that was brought by claims management firms on what is arguably a technicality. And what they are saying is under the Bribery Act, if firms did not declare the amount of commission, not even if the commission was unfair, but literally it didn't say the amount of commission in the document, then technically it counts as bribery and therefore the loan is invalid. And that, if the Supreme, and the Court of Appeal agreed with them, if the Supreme Court upholds it today, would affect 99%, we think, of car finance deals, PCP deals, and HP deals. So you've got the discretionary commission arrangements one, the one people have got the complaint letters in about. That's likely to go ahead anyway, but that's still on hold. And then you've got this one that basically says all car finance deals virtually were invalid if it goes ahead. And that's what we're waiting to hear today from the Supreme Court. That's why it's so big.
Goodness me. So huge for anybody who has had any sort of car financing, because it could be something they can claim. But I understand it's such a big deal because it could potentially extend beyond just car finance. Is that right?
Yeah, and we don't actually understand what the level of compensation would be. On discretionary commission arrangements, you would expect that you'd get the money back. If they push the interest rate above what it would have been otherwise, you'd get that difference back. But if we're just on this technicality that all car finance deals were effectively bribery and therefore unlawful, what is the compensation on that? So some saying it could be as high as 40 billion. But where you start to see this knock across the economy is if that is upheld for car finance, then there are other types of lending across the industry that work in the same way. Now, this could lead potentially, if it spreads across the financial services sector, to big lenders going bust, and consumer lending being frozen, so people who want to borrow not being able to borrow in future, which is why we've heard the Chancellor say she may intervene. She hasn't actually said it. It's been reported that she's discussed there may be intervention on this Supreme Court decision. And, you know, even I, who spent my career championing consumers on the discretionary commission arrangement stuff, absolutely, you can see the injustice. On this technicality, there is a balance between the impact it has on the economy and the impact it has on consumer lending, which could be negative for consumers, versus the payouts that you could get if the Supreme Court is upheld. And you can start to see, the dominoes in a row that this could cause. We have no idea what the Supreme Court would say. Sometimes the cases in the Supreme Court judgment get it in advance. I'm hearing no one has had this in advance. Not the regulator, not the government, not the parties to the case. That may not be correct, but that's what I'm hearing. So everyone is going, what on earth will they say at 4:35 p.m? They could say, no, we disagree with the Court of Appeal, in which case we're likely to see discretionary commission arrangement cases carry on, but it's not guaranteed, depending on what they say. It could say we agree with the Court of Appeal, in which case then this just opens up and we have to wait to see what the regulator and politicians do.
Yeah, and I mean, this is incredible. What are the implications for lenders then if the ruling is upheld, Martin?
Well, if we just keep it narrowly into car finance, then you're talking about, according to HSBC, £44 billion exposure for lenders on car finance, which is about the same size as PPI. If you stretch it beyond car finance, then that explodes. So it's a very difficult one. The balance, I mean, I personally have struggled to balance this because, of course, I like consumers to get money when they're getting paid back money, but I can see the unfairness in discretionary commission arrangements. I can't quite see the unfairness as much in the case that the Supreme Court's looking at, where it's on the, if they didn't tell you the commission, even if the commission wasn't unfair, it's invalid, and therefore the knock-on consequences to people, it's a difficult one to wrestle through. And no one's quite sure is the honest answer. No one knows. We don't know the level of commission. There's so much we don't know. But certainly just on car finance alone, if it were to be all the interest had to be paid back, say that would be in the £40 billion type of exposure levels.
So what are the possible outcomes then, Martin? Are we talking, and I'm just going to use layman's language here, are we talking banks going bust, crashing the economy? Give us a sense of it, more generally for ignorants like me.
That is at the very extreme, and if we were going to have that, I think we would see political intervention. So I don't see that actually happening, but I think that's why there might need to be intervention if that were going to happen. So if we take the narrow look, so don't panic, basically, you don't need to panic it. And listen, many people could be getting payouts. Problem is, if the firm goes bust, you might not get the payout. So look, if the Supreme Court upholds the Court of Appeal decision, then it's all going to go towards the regulator and politicians to see how that's absolutely implemented. And this is just the start of this, and we don't yet know where it will go. If the Supreme Court doesn't uphold the Court of Appeal decision, you would expect the regulator to continue with the discretionary commission arrangement claims. Those are the 3 million template letters that have been through my site and elsewhere. So if that's the one, that will still likely continue. And it's potentially talking the regulator about doing automatic payout, so you don't even have to complain, you get the money. So no one should be going to a claims management firm, because if you get an automatic payout and you've signed up to them, you might have to give away 25% for nothing. Nobody should be doing anything right now, not even after this announcement tonight. Don't do anything. It's going to take a while to play through. And then the third potential option is the Supreme Court does something that we haven't expected.
Well, look, Martin, I tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be glued to your social media at 4:36 p.m. to see what you say, and I'm going to remember that you said don't panic. No. Good to talk to you as always.
This is a long game. This is a long game. Nothing's going to happen this weekend.
OK.
Right? Look, don't panic. Don't do anything. Don't panic. Just keep watching.
Captain Mannering. Thank you. Thank you, Martin, as ever.